Good morning, students. In today's class, we'll be dealing with the first chapter in history, that is introduction. So let's go into the chapter. We will first be dealing with the meaning of history. So, history is one of the greatest branches of human knowledge. The term history has been derived from the Greek word historia, which means inquire or investigate. So, the term history is been derived from the Greek word, which means historia. What does historia means? It is nothing but inquiry or investigate. Where, for example, you have a question, you want an answer for it. You will just not wait for. You will just not go and see the answer just like that. You will try to inquire it. You will get the right answer. Then only you will believe the question is relevant with the answer or no. Next, the word itihasa in Sanskrit means definite events that have occurred. So we use for our in basic our Kannada language, or let it be another language, we say it itihasa. Itihasa means history. So what does itihasa means is nothing but something which is been occurred, something which has happened in the world which you are living. The purpose of history is to seek truth. So what do we want to history? History is something talks to you about the which the events which has been happened, the truth, the events which were the ongoing process. So broadly speaking, history is a subject dealing with the aspect of human life. So basically history means which deals with the human life, the human people who are living. Okay, how did human come, from where they, what to say, scientifically from where they started their livelihoods, then how come civilization happens. There's so many things. So history tries to answer you all the questions. So next, the Greeks were the first to evolve the art of writing history. So when we talk how history started, who started writing it? So it says basically the Greeks. So the Greeks were the first people who started writing about history as a scientific discipline. What is a scientific discipline? For example, we have sciences. So all your chemistry, biology, physics, we see them all as a science. So which we try to do a theory part and practical part, and we try to understand it. But in the same way, some history is seen as a scientific discipline because where we have it is not same as other science branches, but it also deals with the reality, what has happened, where it has happened, how it happened. So these all questions history will try to solve. So then moving on, Herodotus, a Greek historian, is believed to have initiated the writing of history, and hence he is been regarded as the father of history. So who is, if they ask a basic question, who is father of history, it's Herodotus. Okay, so why Herodotus was the father of history is because he initiated first the writing of history, to start writing the what is a basic book for history. So next, moving on to definition. So when you're talking about a subject, you have to need a definition to it, something which really you should understand. There's something reality about the subject. So definition. Generally, history is understood as a record of past events. So, history is something which has already happened, okay? Something past, okay? History cannot be future, okay? So, something which is past. For example, today I'm teaching you this subject. Tomorrow, this might become, this chapter would be, this subject and this chapter would have become for your history. So, we'll be moving on. So, history is something which has already happened. So, there is no universal accepted definition of history. So there's no universe, we don't have a definite explanation or definition for history. So it has been differently defined differently by different scholars. So each scholars have given a different meaning for history. Okay, from Herodotus to William Durant, an American historian. Various historians have defined history in different angles. So each one, for example, each one's view is different and they have the uniqueness of thinking, the angles. So in the same way, now we have each historians or each scholars talking about history in different manner. So first we will move on to the father of history, what has he said. So before going into that, I would like to talk to you about BCE and CE. What does BCE and CE means exactly? Because earlier we used to call it as AD and BC. So let's go into it before we go into the definition. So earlier we had called BC, that is before Christ, and AD, Anno Domini in Latin, for in the year of Lord. Okay, so now it is being changed to BC and CE just because of religious neutrality. BCE means nothing but before Common Era, and CE Common Era. So why it is being changed is because of religious neutrality. Why they changed it from BC and AD is because of religious neutrality. Because earlier BC was called as before Christ and in the year of Lord Anno Domini. So people thought that no, something what to say, because everyone used the same thing and they wanted to change it completely. So some 1 year back it was changed to BCE and CE, which means before Common Era and Common Era. So now all the textbooks, everything has been revised according to the changes which has been made. Okay, so I think you got it what is BC and CE. So now moving on to the first definition given by Herodotus. So we'll see what has Herodotus given. Herodotus 1484 to 1424 BCE, that is before Common Era. So Herodotus was a Greek historian who lived in the 5th century BCE. He has contributed richly to history and anthropology. He traveled in Greece and West Asia. He collected information of Greek city-states and wrote 9 volumes. Among them, The History of Persian Wars deals with the wars between Persian and Greek. So what is anthropology? So Herodotus was a man who contributed towards history in a large manner, and he just didn't deal with history, he also dealt with Anthropology is nothing but study of human society, human politics, human culture. How did humans evolve, and dealing with the biological aspects, all of those. So he also collected the information of Greek city-states, okay, and wrote a 9-volume book. Among them, The History of Persian Wars deals with the war between the two groups, that is Persians and Greeks. His work was earliest writing on history. So he was the first to state the meaning of history. So his book deals with the first meaning of history. So his state of meaning we will be looking at now. Scope of history. According to Herodotus, history is a record of a great heroes and unique events to be remembered by the future generations. So, what is history according to Herodotus? He says that in this definition, Herodotus has focused his thoughts on the achievements of great men and important events from which the succeeding generation can learn. So, Herodotus majorly talks about the heroes. So great two heroes who have lived, who have fought a lot of wars. And why should we remember them? For example, in Indian history, we talk about Ashoka, right? The greatest king. Because of his achievements and the immense history and things given to Indian nation. So the same way, Herodotus is trying to glorify the heroes and the events, what all they have done. So he says this history is a record of great heroes and unique events to be remembered by the future generations. So next, moving on to the second definition by Saint Augustine, 354 to 430 CE. So CE means Common Era. Saint Augustine was a Christian saint and a profound thinker. So Augustine was a Christian saint. He was the greatest among the church historiographers of the medieval period. So he was famous during the medieval period, and he was a historiographer. Historiographer means someone who writes about history. So his work, The City of God. So his book which he had written is called The City of God. So is considered as one of the greatest works in the world. Okay. According to Augustine, history is a story of the struggle between God and Satan, which would ultimately end in the victory of God over Satan. So he says that St. Augustine, being a church historiographer, gave more importance to miracles and saints in his writing. So Augustine, being a man who believed in religion, that is Christianity, so he talked about the miracles of God and saints. And he also said that in the definition he says that struggle between God and Satan, that is good and evil. So but the victory will be to the good always. He strongly believed that human history was guided by God. So God is everything, the universal. History in the medieval Europe was monopoly of the churchmen for several centuries. So during that time in medieval period, Christianity played a major role in Europe. They used both secular and religious histories as an instrument to popularize the church faith. So it was like a weapon during that time, using Christianity and making spreading people, talking to them about God, the belief in God. So they use history as also one of the concepts through which, as they thought, we can say the word of God. So the next third person who has given the definition is by Karl Marx. So Karl Marx, 1818 to 1883 CE. Karl Marx was a German philosopher, economist, sociologist, historian, journalist, and revolutionary sociologist. His idea played a significant role in the establishment of the social science and development of sociologist movement. So Karl Marx was a famous philosopher, economist, sociologist, historian, journalist, and he's from Germany. And his thoughts helped mostly the socialist movement. He is also considered as one of the greatest economists in history. He enunciated a new economic interpretation of the definition of history. So he's an economist, so his thoughts were majorly dealing history also with the subject economic. According to Karl Marx, history is a story of struggle between the haves and have-nots. Okay. In this definition, Marx emphasizes on the struggle between haves and the have-nots, which means between the rich and the poor. So, how does the rich and the poor struggle in the society? He argues that there is a constant conflict between exploiters and the exploited. Exploiters, the rich; exploited, the poor, who are being exploited by the rich always. He wrote two books. The famous books are Das Kapital and the Communist Manifesto. J.B. Bury, J.B. Bury, 1861 to 1927 CE. J.B. Bury was one of the Irish historian and a scholar. He worked as a professor of modern history at Cambridge University. According to him, history is a science, no less and no more. So he says that he is a famous historian, and he says that history is nothing less than science, nothing more than science. It is same as science. Your other subjects like science streams, you have no chemistry, bio, it's same like that. Bury says every historian must work like a scientist, collect the data and valid evidences. So history also something where we will collect the evidences, all of those things, right? Then only we know someone have lived earlier. He should critically evaluate the subject and bring out the truth without bias. So he says that he should evaluate, he should bring the truth out, but there should not be any differences made to it. But observation and experimentation are not possible in history. But what is the problem in history is you can't experiment it. History is something which has already happened, so experimenting it is very difficult. Similarly, events in history cannot be recreated. Hence, history is not pure science. So, because of this problems, where history is not a pure, why it is not a pure science? Because history cannot be recreated at all. J.B. Bury himself said history is the oldest art and the youngest aspirant to become a science. This means history is something which it is the oldest subject, but it is too young to become a stream in science. Historian will have to make use of his talents to present the subject in a creative manner. So the historians are the one who should take it in a way where it can become very famous. Next, the fifth one. Arnold Toynbee. Arnold Toynbee was a British historian. He worked as a professor of history in London University. He wrote a number of works on the religion and history. His work, A Study of History, in 12 volumes. So his famous work is A Study of History. He studied 26 civilizations. According to him, history is the story of the rise and fall of the civilization. He talks about the rise and fall of the civilization. Toynbee explains that history is a story of man but not of individuals. So he said history is not something about only one individual. It is about people together. Man, their power, glory and battles. How they came up, why did they fight the battles and all of those. It is the people who should be given importance for him. History is a treasure of knowledge of man. So history is something treasure of knowledge of man. and his role in the development of culture and civilization. How does man alone he made possibility of making civilization popular? If there is civilization only, we could have known things. For example, your Harappan civilization, Chinese civilization, Mesopotamian civilization. Next, moving on to Jawaharlal Nehru, 1889 to 1964 CE. Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, was very much interested in the study of history. His well known works are his famous works, Discovery of India and The Glimpse of World History. Both were written when he was political prisoner. So, when he was fighting for the freedom for India, when he was in the prison, he had written these two books. And The Glimpse of History, World History is something, it is a collection of letters written to his daughter Indira Gandhi. According to Nehru, history is the story of man from barbarism to civilization. So, something which Nehru feels that man through ages has struggled to improve at every stage. He says history involves both conflicts and harmony. So history has something, difficulties, and there is good things as well, which have helped him to attain a high level of civilization. Because of these difficulties and goodness, he had come to a level in this society. In this fact has been ascertained in the background of the more than 4,000 years of human history. So he talks about 4,000 years of human history. And also he says history is a story of man of barbarism to civilization. How man didn't know anything. He was a barbaric, something uncivilized. But as he grew by ages, he created civilization. From the above definition, it is very clear that history is mainly concerned with the activities of human beings. It is a narrative of past events and has led man towards the right path. So, history is something which has led man towards the correct path. It can be concluded that history is a study of all significant human activities. So, what all humans have done, that is what we study in history in various dimensions, like the battles, like his livelihood and all of those, which is restricted in time and place. But we have a particular place where we study about it. We cannot study everything about each king in the same year. For example, if there is Vijayanagara Empire in a particular year, there is your Delhi Sultanates in different years.